have Mr. Binod Singh, President and CEO of Islanders here as talking to us on transition from services to product as part of the Industry Connect session. Binod actually founded Islanders in year 2000, and before that he was working for big companies like Wipro Digital, CA, and held senior positions there. He holds a BSc Engineering degree in Mechanical Engineering from Patna University, and he is also holding MTech from IIT Kharagpur. Islanders was founded in year 2000 as a services company, and then it was transitioned into as a product company. And it's a high value added product company today in India, managing identity services and security access management solutions. And just now we heard also that Islanders has been listed as one of the first 30 Indian product companies. So congratulations on that, and please join me welcoming Binod.
Hi guys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'll take you through. I thought about how exactly I'm going to talk in the next 45 minutes with you. It's going to be very interactive, first of all, and I don't have any slides that I've prepared for this. I thought I'll talk about the journey that we have really undertaken over the last 3.5 years, 3.5 to 4 years, transitioning ourselves from a services company into a product company. While doing that, I must warn you all about a few things. Our journey is not yet over. The journey is somewhere midway or maybe 70% complete. We're not saying we have done it all right. So take it as a set of experiences of an entrepreneurial company moving from services to products. Not that it is successful, fully successful, proven model. Can you hear me? Yeah. So, just want to forewarn each one of you that this is about a journey, not necessarily the ideal journey. But I will definitely talk about the mistakes that we committed on way more than the successes and the good things that we did. Because we firmly believe that it's through the mistakes and issues that we created that we learn. And that is truly what we need to share with all of you. So that as you go on and do these things, perhaps you don't commit those mistakes. You commit other ones, but not these ones. Before I go into that, I want to make a few announcements from Atlanta's side. I was talking to Binkesh, and I found some very interesting things out here. One thing that we have learned in our journey into products is that India is not yet there in terms of maturity of building and developing products. Whereas in services, we have proven our point time and again. The Infosys and the Wipros and the TCS of the world are pretty well known, and nothing more has to be established there as proof point. When it comes to products, especially more like, we will talk more from a B2B perspective, though the lines are becoming very fuzzy, what is B2B and what will become B2C. And I'll talk about that also in context of Atlantis. But in that context, there is a lot that is happening, and there's a lot that has not yet happened. I'll talk about that. But before we do that, as I said, what I want to talk about is a few things that we would like to do with guys like you who are so wedded to the product management aspect of things. Because we are beginning to recognize that this is an area which is severely lacking today in India. And perhaps if you ask me today in terms of what is the difference for India between success in the happening and success actually having happened, it's product management. From that point of view, we being one of the first few product companies out of India, take this as our own responsibility, and in the process we will gain to work with you, to give you an opportunity to work with us in different capacities as you are going through these programs to get the experience and learn, because these programs, I believe, will be more experiential in nature than theoretical. So there are two things that I want to just announce before I get into my presentation. One is that we have a lot of very interesting opportunities at this point in time, and we would like to invite some of you. We can have more detailed discussions later. I don't know whether Alok has talked about it, but for us, the journey has begun, or the race has begun, in our area of what we call IDaaS, which stands for Identity as a Service, which is cloud-based identity management. That's really being talked about. It had a market of about $215 million last year. In 2000, at the end of 2017, according to Gartner, it will be $5.5 billion market. And there are only five players. The horse race has begun. No more horses will be entertained because it's an area which has got very high entry barrier. The race is going to end in 2017-18. That's also declared by people like Gartner. So we are in the race already. Our horse is in the race, and the journey has begun. So in that sense, it will be a lot of things that will be doing over the next 2.5 years or 3 years that will see us as one of the core runners in this $5.5 billion market that's emerging. And in the process, we expect that Atlantis would have a valuation in the range of at least about $1 billion in this time frame. So you're welcome. We can talk more about it. We have a lot of new things that we want to do in the journey, and you could take some of these as a project to gain the kind of experience that you need to have in your journey as students of this. Second thing I want to announce is, again, I'm starting to vacation. I think we have to play our bit in the industry. I believe there's a scholarship that, just after my talk, I think there's a scholarship that is actually fructifying, which was announced by Cisco last year, which is in the area of what we call Cisco IPL scholarship, right? So I'm proud to announce right now that there will be an Atlantis IPL scholarship of $6,000 that will be given to the student that will be jointly decided. You're saying that we will be deciding, but I don't think we will be the people to decide, but there will be a scholarship established With that, let me move on and talk more about the journey. Hopefully it will give you some good proof points, some points that, or some pointers that will help you as you get into your own journeys down the line. And I'll talk more from our experience perspective. I'll trace our journey. That would perhaps give you some insights. No two journeys, as you know, are the same. When we talk about service company transitioning to become a product company, the first question that comes to my mind is, what kind of service company? Because a service company A is different from a service company B. And the way I would classify service companies is into 3 categories. The first one are very commodity, perhaps labor arbitrage-oriented service companies. And that's how India began its journey into services. If you remember, those of you who have been there in the Y2K period, that was a commoditized service. There was no great value add that was really being done. A lot of codes had to be produced in a certain amount of time. And thereafter also, the journey that most of these very established companies that I named a few minutes ago have been into, if you look at what they're doing today also, by and large, they're into low-end services, commoditized services, which gives you revenues in billions of dollars, but valuation perhaps $30–40 billion at the most, right? But that's one level. As you move up the value chain in services, there's another kind of companies which are a little more focused in a specific direction. And KPOs, the knowledge process outsourcing industry, is a good example of that, where moving away and up from commodity, you're now talking in terms of focusing on knowledge in a specific area. Now that value addition is at a little higher level than commodity. And then at the highest level of the services, I would call companies which focus on a specific niche, and that niche could be a very high value niche. Our company in Atlantis is positioned out there. Identity and access management is a very high-end niche. Even services in this space is considered to be very high value. Why? Because services and identity and access management comprise of not just technology but processes too. And the moment you bring in service which will combine processes, process re-engineering along with technology, it becomes a different ballgame. It becomes far more complex, and it becomes tailored to a specific industry segment or a specific niche. So identity and access management it falls in over there. In fact, in our journey, in the year 2000, when we embarked the journey as a services company in identity and access management, the whole understanding was that India has established itself in the low-end, low-value services. Now let there be a company which will take the lead in terms of creating very high-value services. And at that time, we ran into all kinds of rough weather because of taking a different kind of journey. Nobody recognized us in the US. There was no market in India. The mindset was not in favor of high-value services out of India. Markets came down in 2000. Those of you who know the dot-com collapse that really happened in 2000. So we have name it and the problem we had with us. But I think it's precisely because of having gone through those kind of problems is where we stand today in our sense of confidence that we have as an organization. So when we talk of services to products, the further you are, or the further down you are in the value addition that you're doing in services, more difficult the journey is going to be transitioning to have products. Because if I look at 3 layers of services, commodity, little higher value, and then the highest value, the products actually come in the 4th layer. And the further the layer that you are operating in services is from product, more difficult the transition is going to be. And that perhaps is the reason why a Wipro or an Infosys, in spite of having the kind of money muscle they have today, in spite of having the best of brains today, some of the best brains in the industry, they have not been able to come up with products. Because the paradigm in which you live at low-end services is very different from the paradigm of products. And I'll talk about that in a moment. So, we were fortunate that we began our journey in services at a layer which is at the highest end of the value chain in services. And therefore, for us to transition into products was one-step journey. Having said that, in spite of looking easy, that is the next step, it has been the most challenging journey for us. I must say, when we began, and Alok is here, 2 of us, I think have been responsible initially for thinking of the whole thing. We had at some point in time, way back in 2006, 2007, developed kind of a product which was in the area of password management, which used to work with, and password management is a part of the identity and access management domain. So this we had done in collaboration with Microsoft. It used to work on it was written in .NET, and it was kind of providing a set of functionality in the password management area. So to that extent, we had done some sort of a quasi product at that point in time. Having said that, and we had some customers, but we had no product management organization, we had no structures in terms of developing products. Some good service guy would put them together and build a set of codes that was productized to some extent. And then in 2010, 2011, when Gartner was conducting a survey of identity management implementations in US, and they picked up about 99 customers from different segments. And they found, interestingly, there was this one small company called Atlantis popping up with the most satisfied customers, as against Accenture and some of those largest companies, IBMs, who also provide identity management services and all. So they connected with us and they said, well, you guys seem to be making some real impact on customers in a very difficult domain. Who are you? And that's how we got introduced to Gartner. When way back in 2012, we were judged by Gartner's cool vendor for the contribution that would make to this space. They advised us 3 years ago that given the kind of experience we seem to have, given the kind of work we seem to be doing with customers, including Fortune 100 customers, maybe we are the right people to develop some intellectual property and products in this space, because according to them, from 2012, the whole market is going to really shoot up like this. Thanks to SMAC, social media, mobility, analytics and cloud, we all talk about today. They said the wave is coming, and in that way, one of the biggest challenges will be to manage identities. So to manage an identity within the four walls of an organization is very easy, but the moment you start moving out into mobile devices, cloud, and all kinds of things, the same thing becomes very, very challenging. And Gartner felt that if we really want to bet our company on, we should go on and perhaps become a product company. It was a difficult decision for us to take because, frankly, we were making profits. We were a profitable company, but we are a small company. Shall we go to get funding for products first, or shall we begin developing the products, bring it to some stage, and then go for getting funded in that area? All those thoughts were there in our minds. But I think the first lesson that I would like to talk about is when you transition from a services to a product company is you need to have a tremendous amount of courage. No matter, as I said, an Infosys has got, it's a multiple billion-dollar company, valuation running in tens of billions of dollars. They've got cash in the bank. How come they don't have a single good product? In fact, recently I saw the only product that they have is in the banking space, and they're selling it off. They've decided to take it. They've taken a decision to sell it off. What is really lacking? Why is it that in spite of, we all know that, the kind of valuations that you can get, the kind of 1000x, 10,000x multiplication that you can do through your revenue through products far exceeds the capacity of services company to do. The one big reason is courage. The second one is paradigm. Perhaps the first one is paradigm, and then comes courage. We had the courage, I must say, to take that decision to jump and begin developing and building products. We did that. As a consequence of that, just about 1.5 years down the line, when Gartner started actually talking about IDaaS, which is Identity as a Service, we appeared right from the first report onwards. The early entrant advantage we got. So when we look at our journey, I think at some point in time, you have to stop that analysis paralysis and take a decision from your heart intuitively to jump into it. That final decision between go, no go comes from here. It doesn't come from here. You can do all the analysis, but that doesn't really push you into that decision. So we took the decision from the heart. And 3 years down the line, I think it was a great decision that we took. So that's the ability of the senior management, the top management, to have the courage to take a decision in terms of, okay, we are taking the plunge from services into products. That is very important to begin with. Without that, the journey itself will not begin. in our journey, as we decided to move into products, Alok was the first member in the product team. Decided somebody has to. So that is the first. I don't need it, I think. Should be okay. Being in services, we were very used to it, like any other service company, delighting a customer, 5 customers, 10 customers, maybe 50 customers. And each delight was based on specific requirements of that particular customer. So we had gotten very used to look at each customer and his requirements and satisfy him 100%. That became perhaps one of the biggest issues while trying to transition into a product company. When you go into become a product company, you're not really looking at the delight of each customer, because that's not possible out there. It's like, they say, it's like a tailor stitching a shirt versus buying a ready-made shirt. A ready-made shirt perhaps is going to fit in perfectly only to 1% of the people, or even less. But it's going to be okay for 100% of the people with the kind of variations you have decided on colors, the texture of the cloth, the prints, the collar types, the cuff types, and so on and so forth. So you've done your variations, and yet it's not going to give 100% satisfaction anyway. But you can buy it out of the store and wear it the next moment. Unlike services where somebody has to really stitch the shirt for you. And that's the difference that it took quite a bit of time for us to understand that it is not possible. Initially, as we got into the journey, we had the products in the beta stage. We were talking to customers. The customer said, you know what, I want this extra feature because my system runs like this. And we said, oh sure, we'll try to do that. We were coming from the service paradigm where you have to satisfy the customer, where you get paid for every extra bit that you do for him. That doesn't work in products. You've got to know that you're not out here to satisfy 100% everybody. So that's a lesson, very hard lesson we had to learn. Because of that, we would go in all directions. So one extra feature, tomorrow another customer asking for another kind of feature. Oh yeah, we will give you that as well. We suddenly got into a situation in 1 year that we were trying to build some 20 different features at the same time. And there was no product roadmap in that sense. So we learned that we cannot do that with services. But that was learning, and that's very important when you're trying to transition from the paradigm of product services into products. One important thing that an organization really needs to understand, common sense tells you that in services, when you do something for a customer, the business has already happened. After that, you're putting in your effort. In products, business would not happen for a long time, and you have to keep on putting efforts. So business happens in the future. In services company, business happens in the past, right? And then you deliver. And that, I think, is one of the biggest issues with the kind of mental tuning that we Indians have. We live in a world of security, and safety. We don't want to be a risk-averse people by and large. We can see from the very beginning of our lives how much of emphasis is given by our parents, by our society, on having a particular kind of education, having a particular kind of job, and conducting ourselves in a particular way. Why? Because we don't want to take risks. Anything outside that is considered to be risky. Right? That is not so in the best of environment. People do chart out their own courses. People are responsible for their own lives. Once you're 16 or 17, most of the time you don't even get parental support. So, risk aversion is one of the biggest issues. When you're in a services mindset, your risks are there, but they're very, very low risks. When you got business, and you've got 5 projects, if you have 50 people, tomorrow when you have 10 projects, you have 100 people. So it's linear in that sense. But the business has happened, and then in a way you're putting some money. Some amount of work you do is in the future also. You do forecasting studies also as to what is the expansion I'm going to do, what is the growth I'm going to have, and you put in some additional resource for that. But it's not much. But in a product company, nothing has happened. Not a single dollar worth of revenue has happened, and we've already sunk in some of that money. So for us, actually, this was a very major thing. Because as I said, we didn't go to VCs. We didn't get funded for building our products. We tried to do it out of our own internally accrued profits, and they were not much. So to be able to adjust and play around with the cash flows, with an ever-increasing product organization where there's a lot more investment needs to go for product engineering, it was a big challenge. And I guess when I talk to some of my colleagues in the industry who have been in a similar journey, some have given up, some are in the process of giving up because they thought it was a mistake to move from services, which was a relatively safe business, predictable business, profitable business, to move it into an area which looks risky, don't know whether you're going to make profit or not, and almost like a never-ending story, especially when you talk about B2B space. It is like that. So I think that's a very important thing to consider too, that it's not an easy journey. Now, whether you like to, is the solution to get first funded? Not necessarily. Because there is, the most important thing in product is you have an opportunity, you are there at the right time, you are in the right space. That combination is not going to last for too long. A VC funding takes perhaps 6 months to happen. Shall we wait to make that happen and then move on and begin the journey? Or by that time you might already be seeing that the first mover advantage is gone. 6 months is a big time in our industry today. When we talk of an area like, as I said, in our space of identity as a service, the whole journey is just about another 3 years long. Everybody's talking about it. There is no IBM, there is no Oracle, there is no Computer Associates. None of the big companies are there in this space. Only small companies like us are there. Quite evidently, when the market becomes $5 billion in 3 years' time, all of us will be the acquisition target. So the whole opportunity is there only for 2.5, 3 years. And had we not taken the plunge without funding at that point in time, in a way we would have missed the bus. We would not have been noticed by Gartner reports in the first year, and that itself would have put us back. So it's a difficult decision to take. We know the kind of issues that we faced because of investing so heavily out of our own internally accrued profits to build products. So that's another thing that we need to look at. Another interesting area, and this I think all service companies will face when they transition to do products, is that you suddenly have 2 camps. You have the service organization, which was the only organization up to a certain point in time. They are the ones who who are generating revenue and profits for the company. And a bunch of guys come from somewhere, product guys. They are a lot of money for something, and they are getting a lot of recognition, but they are producing nothing in terms of revenue or any contribution of that kind. So suddenly you will find the polarization of two camps, and we have that situation for quite some time. And within the same organization to have two camps is the worst thing that you can really invite for yourself. The second issue, which is related to that, is that the service guy, who do you really do it? Obviously you have domain knowledge in that area, which lies in service, which you now want to use to build products. And so you want to bring some of your bright guys from the service side to the product side. Nobody wants to come. Nobody was coming. Although knows, I know how much of difficulty we had in terms of pulling in some of our best guys from services and product organization. Because nothing was good. They knew what they were doing on the service side. They thought they have a market value because of that. Now moving it into an unknown space, which may or may not see the light of the day, whether it's worthwhile or not, they didn't know. We had to really attract people by giving them a very, very special incentive in the beginning to make them move from services to products. Now it's a different story. Now it's the other way around. People are saying, these product guys are pampered, and they can see that there is some future out there, and therefore many people want to move from here to there. Nobody wants to move from product to services. But that reflection took quite a bit of time. It's a very big challenge for an organization. We have gone through that. The other issue that we faced, and I guess most of the organizations will face that, it's very difficult to really predict the kinds of investments you need for a product organization to build a product. And one of the biggest issues that service companies have is that they recognize only engineering expenses or effort, technical effort expenses. That there is something called product marketing, which perhaps is going to suck in 50 times more money than engineering, is something that service companies are not able to recognize in the beginning. And we made that mistake too. So wherein we were able to make some wonderful products, and if you go to Gartner reports, our products today already are talked about as some of the best products in the industry. So we have engineered the products, but marketing it, taking it to the market, is another paradigm of investment from people. So at what point in time you start really looking to raise dollars for marketing is very, very important. And I think we never fathomed that very well. So we had some hiccups in terms of suddenly realizing that we have the products, but we are not in a position to go all out. We have a competitor who's got 50 salespeople in US because they have taken $30 million of venture capital investment, and that's making them accelerate on customer acquisition side better than us. But that's an important, very, very important thing to really determine as to at what point you start focusing on marketing, and that cannot be a serial consideration. After the product's ready, then I'll start worrying about selling the market. It has to happen much before the products are ready. And to be able to make those predictions in the beginning, when you have an organization dealing in services, suddenly to be able to think through so many things, forecast so many things, in a market which is uncertain. What we are building, for example, is for a new market. Identity as a service did not exist. It still doesn't exist fully. How do you make predictions of that? How long will it take? When shall it begin? And so on. It's a big challenge. It's very interesting too. So that was another issue that we have to, I think all service organizations transitioning should look at that as well. I think one of the biggest challenges, if I really put many of these things together, one of the biggest challenges is in terms of non-standardization versus standardization, moving from services to product. In the services part, there's only quality control. There's no standardization in terms of functionality and all that you do. In products, from the very beginning, you've got to really think of standardization. Thinking through that has to be done, and that's what you guys are going through. Product management is all about that. You have to think in terms of what shall my product variations be like. Because you're talking about a market in the future, right? So as those things, you got to predict that market, and then you got to think in terms of what is it that I build that 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line is going to meet the needs. That would emerge at that point in time. So you're making predictions all the time, projections all the time. So what kind of product, what kind of functionality I develop, what kind of variations do I keep, how do I really package it to meet the eyes of the customers 3 years down the line. What markets do I play in? All these decisions have to be taken pretty early. Today, looking back, we realize that they're different. And that's why we struggled for a long time before we started settling down. Another interesting thing I always tell my colleagues is that unlike services, when you do services, you take decisions in terms of what is it that you have to do. So a customer gives you a set of specifications. Based on that, you build your services, or you provide them services. In product, it is not important to know what is it that you want to do. It's important, but even more important is what you don't want to do. And I think, again, culturally, I find in India, we have this paradigm of, yes, I will do it. Yes, I will do it. So a customer asks for something, yes, I will do it. And I think all of you, those of you who have the service background in the IT industry, would know, like when I went to the US and spent 9 years there, I found that we, people from India, are always turned to be people who overcommit and underdeliver. And it's not taken in a negative way. Everybody says that we are so enthusiastic. And this culture of, if I say no, saying no doesn't exist in our culture. We find it very difficult to say no. In fact, when I started living there, I realized how easily people were saying no, and I didn't like it. In fact, it looked like rude that people could, if I asked for directions from somebody on the road and he'd say, no, I don't know, or he'd say, no, I don't have the time, I would feel upset. And nobody would do that in our country. But having said that, that ability to say no is so important in building products. So what is it that you don't want to build is very important to decide. Otherwise you get sucked into all the additional things before you know. What is your cutoff? We don't determine in services. In services, we are ready to do everything because if we add one more feature, one more customization, we get some extra dollars, right? So everything that we do has got a dollar return. Product, it's not so. Keep on doing everything, you'll never end up having a product. Or you will end up having a product which is so complex that it will not be easy to install, implement, support, and maintain. The other thing that we found very important was most of the products that are being built nowadays are in the cloud. And when you do it in the cloud, there are many other factors that you need to consider other than just building some nice codes. And we have gone through that exercise. How to put it in the cloud. Today's world, now you've got SaaS, the other technologies which are available to outsiders like Amazon, Microsoft, Salesforce. And these guys help you in terms of providing those functionality that is needed to take you into the cloud. Right? You don't have to build those features in your product anymore. And therefore, when you start writing the codes at that time itself, you need to be very clear that I'm putting it in the cloud. Whether I'm going to do it myself or I'm going to use a service provider, a PaaS or infrastructure as a service, platform as a service provider, to build that in. And we have lost about 6 months in the process because we couldn't think through that very well. There were so many things happening that we couldn't think through as to how do we deliver the product. We were thinking only in terms of how to engineer the product. That's another very important thing to really think about as you coming from a service mentality and move it into the product mentality. But I can just go on and on and on our experience and the lessons that we have learned. But maybe these are a few important points. At this point, I think it would be good if we have more of a dialogue where we can talk in terms of what is it that you'd like to know in terms of our journey, any pointers that you're looking for, any thoughts that come to your mind, any questions that come to your mind. If Bob it up, maybe
yeah. So the first question is on this aspect. So you call it a service to a product transition, right? So why is it a transition? Why is it not two different businesses? Why was it not incubated and spin off as a different entity and still you continue to run two businesses, right?
So I apologize if I call it transition because you're absolutely right. It's not a transition. We still have services business. In fact, in our own model, precisely the advantage that we have over our competitors is that we have services business too. See, when we talk of identity as a service or anything else as a service, it's not just about bringing in a product and that will do everything automatically. It's not that you don't have to have the service element. There is some service element in B2B, you do have service element always, right? And if you are used to services, if you have a service organization, it's very good to use that in your product support, in the product customization for specific customers and so on, especially in the B2B space. So it is one organization in that sense. These are not two different organizations. And this is another thing that we have learned, that even though you have two silos to some extent, these two silos have to intermingle and function a lot and interverse a lot between each other. And that's beginning to finally happen now, 2.5 years after we took up the journey. In fact, interestingly enough, one of the products is being now built by the services guys. We don't call it service anymore, we call it solution. Because that organization uses and consumes the product to deliver a solution to the customers. Right? So, yeah, go ahead.
And the second question on the same line, right? So when you guys decided to incubate a product, right, would it have been a right decision to bring in a product guy at that point in time to lead this business? Would the game have been different and the journey have been different?
Very good question, and in retrospect that looks the right thing to do. But having said that, what happens in these spaces is that a product manager may know how to package, may know the basics of product management, but when we talk of B2B space especially, the knowledge of the domain is a very, very important thing. And that takes time for an outsider to really get. So what you try to do is, you pick up the best of your brains and try to orient them to product management rather than the other way around. That's one. Second, if you really look at India, and that's the challenge of India. 3 years ago, when we took up on the journey, where were the product managers available? Even today, we know this, you guys are here, maybe there are 2 institutes, that's about all. And then there also, the experience is not there. You may have gone through a project, while doing your program that you're going to do. But the real experience of 10 years, solid 5 years of product management is just not there. It's very difficult to find. And then frankly, we didn't even recognize the need for that in the beginning. We thought, we know this domain very well. We can write, we can customize things. We can write codes to build functionality, and that's all that is needed in product engineering. We know the customer, so it will sell. Because that was the kind of paradigm service companies come from. So
very true. Yeah. So I work for Mindtree, right? So now and then we try to incubate, some ideas here and there, but most of the time we don't go and hit the money on the table. That's because the same problem issue happens. Right? We don't see beyond the engineering side of the product marketing side.
exactly. In fact, many times I had this conversation with very good friends in my trade, so with the Vachi, NKK, Krishna Kumar, Janki, these are two people that work together in the group on the road. So, Subrata was asking me this question just the last week as to, you guys are doing some work in productization and products, and yet you're not there. You're saying, we are frustrated. We don't know why it's not happening. How did you guys do it? We said that we are small, maybe our problems are small. Guys are big, so the problems are big. And actually, that's another factor. The larger is a service organization, stronger will be the inertia to move it into products. For a service organization, $1 is $1 is $1. So they would rather, they understand the service dollars very well. Very difficult to transition to products and
so you made the point about services company being up the value chain. Now, what you're doing is kind of forward integration, right? And at the same time, you're just probably sitting below the product layer. So, wasn't that seen as a threat by your existing service customers that you are stepping into their domain or taking their share of the pie from the overall game? And how did you manage? I mean, was that a real problem, or you actually created a different segment where you were not competing with your existing customers? How did you go about it?
So, see, what typically happens is that, like IDaaS is a new space that is emerging. It's actually it's creating a new market segment. It's not eating into the existing markets. Identity management, even though it's been there for 14, 15 years, it has gone only into Fortune 1000 domain, by and large, maybe Fortune 500. It doesn't spread beyond that. In its current form, it's very complex, very expensive to both deliver and maintain. So SaaS-based identity management makes it possible for that class of customers who could not implement identity management yesterday to be able to implement that now. So that's creation of a new customer segment, and therefore there is not so much of a clash. Very frankly, we cannot expect Kohl's, which is one of the largest chain of stores in the US, has been our service customer for a long time. We don't see them transitioning into cloud-based identity management for the next 10 years, because it's so customized, it's so complex an environment that the commodity SaaS-based identity management will not be able to cater to that set of challenges, at least for the next 10 years.
So, at the time when you took the decision to get into products, were you already having investments from VCs and others, or you were pretty much a privately held?
We were privately held. We had been the only round of funding, true funding that we had, Series A, was with Intel Capital, but not much. We are very, very.
So did that help the transition?
Yeah, but they had no recognition for products, even the VCs. Now things are changing. You guys are, I think, in for better times. But when we began this journey, the recognition for products is so poor that you go to a VC, if you go and he says, okay, show me what's your revenue, what's your profit, last 3 years balance sheet you show. That is not the way you value a product company. Product company is always forward valuation. Service company is always backward valuation. And most of the VCs in India Indian VCs are used to backward valuation. So there's no way you can stand that test. Things are changing very rapidly at this point. I must say that I will give a lot of credit to this new government. I'm quite active now with the association, I spirit around that. Meeting with these Indian ministers and all that. Awesome set of people. They want product industry to really take roots as quickly as possible. They're willing to admit that they don't understand, and they're willing to be guided and handled in that space. How are we doing on time? Just as a time check. Because I know that you guys have another session after this.
We'll stop, I guess, when the questions start.
What time is it?
5:25.
Because I wanted to just talk about one more thing as we finish. Something interesting I wanted to.
You brought up a point that we as nation are risk averse and you face challenges to say no. So how do you, when a product comes or feature comes in, what are the parameters that you take into consideration when saying no to the feature, no to a specification? Like you cannot predict 3 years down the line what customer would require, but there must be some parameter you would be considering yes, say yes to a feature, no to a feature. What?
Yeah, sure. So parameters are based on, first of all, volumes that, how many customers are going to really look for that functionality, and what competitive differentiation it creates in terms of value. These are the two basic factors. And the third one is how much does it cost to build that. So if it costs a lot, it's not going to help a lot of customers, and it's not going to create fairly interesting differentiation. And there's no point in doing that. So these are the three parameters on which you do the assessment.
So you can move to, I mean, you have some topic to talk about, right? So probably we can shift to that and then come to your questions.
Sure. So this is, having gotten into products, minds have started working that way in Atlantis. And personally for me, there are some other interesting things that I'm supporting. There's a very interesting venture that is just about gotten set up, and I'm an advisor to that. This venture is, and this is how the paradigms can be so different. Stress is a very important problem in the corporate world. And a lot has been done, but yet the stress has not increased, it's only increasing. The science of yoga is something that is known to bust stress beyond, apart from many other things that it does. I came across a very interesting organization just outside Bangalore, which was founded by a scientist from NASA, which has devised some very special technologies to bust stress. And it's just awesome the way it operates. It also goes deeper into attending to some of the ailments and issues that one has. Now, an organization just about got formed, which is going to franchise a package to the corporate customers. The franchise would comprise of very sophisticated instruments. You'll be surprised how advanced some of these things have become. And today I can put a 1 lakh rupee instrument which can measure and plot all your energy parameters, energy centers of the body, which is called chakra in our Indian system, called the meridians in the Chinese system. But it really plots and gives you a complete graph of who you are in terms of your energies, and links it to the health of your organs, and it's 99% accurate. So this franchising that is going to be done by these guys essentially is going to go to the corporate organizations, set of equipments, set of intervention procedures that they have developed, and a set of people that will be designed to do that. That franchise center will be set up in a corporate organization, and be supported over a period of time. So that's the product that they're talking about. There's a bunch of service and products that go as a package in a franchising model. Test market has already been done by them. Results are highly encouraging. The first set of delivery is going to happen in 4 organizations, and all four of these are very large ones: State Bank of India, Reliance, HDFC Bank, and SR group of companies. These four companies have come forward and they want to really take it. We're looking for, this company is looking for, I'm an advisor to them, is looking for somebody who would like to be the product manager for this whole venture. And it could be a part of your study that you're doing right now. It may not be a full-time job. If you guys have interest, contact me later. Very, very interesting journey. Productizing the set of services. Completely new paradigm in direction. Nothing to do with the kind of things, software products that we're talking about. So, that kind of something interesting. Okay, so.
Questions here. So, when you move from services to product, what happened to your sales team? Did you hire a new sales team? Did you change the way you incentivize people, like set expectations and so on? What happened there?
Very interesting question. Thanks for asking. Obviously, at one level you'll say a sale is a sale, right? And a salesman is a salesman. But at the other level, the mindset of selling services and the mindset of selling products can be quite different. In services, you've got long gestation period. It's quite acceptable. The more you try to add to the features, customizations, the more dollars you get. You maybe do, in our industry, you do about 10 or 15 active customers at the same time you have. But the moment you jump into the product side, you're talking about at least 150 to 200 prospects at a time. Not only that, you're suddenly now talking about direct to an indirect sales model. So you're talking about setting up a channel of distribution, which we have done in India. We're in the process of doing that for US. You don't do that in services. So not only the salesperson's mentality, the kind of salesperson you have to sell product is going to be somewhat different, but also the channels of distribution and so on that pop up in case of products are very unique that you don't have in services. So yes, you've got to really look at that, look at your existing sales force. Shall you let them be on the services side, or some of them are ready to move into products and sell that? Mostly, I would say, you have to create a new sales force, which if you want to do more transactions, faster volumes, which is typical of products as compared to services. Big changes required.
For a bootstrap startup company which has constant pressure of generating revenue, so initially people services, and someday to get into products. So what is the right time frame within which you should be able to transition from these services to products?
I think I covered that in a way in our journey. It's eventually that decision came from the heart. You'll never get into that if you keep on looking at a bootstrap company typically. Will not have a lot of funds. So on one side you'll always have the temptation, let me have a little more funds available before I get embark upon that journey. It may never happen. Because by the time you'll have enough funds, the opportunity in terms of first mover, second mover advantage will be gone. So that's where I talk about the courage, and that's where I talk about you have to go from your heart and take that call. There are no rules.
Hi, my name is Raghav. I work for IDC Connect. My question to you is, when you were a service company and you had a set of customers, basically, you created some value for them. And then you actually decided to pick up the product development camp, basically. Now you have more targeted customers, basically. You have a different value assigned to that. So what kind of challenges you face in transitioning the value that you are providing to your customers? How did you manage that? And how did you communicate it back to your customers, basically?
Right. So this question, the answer to this I'll take back to another point, which is when you're talking of product company as opposed to being a services company. services element that will not become useless, as I said, from 2 points of view. So one I talked about, which is you need services for your products also. But the other important part is that if you are in services and you've got some mature product that you're servicing, that gives you an opportunity to have a peek into the customer issues and all that. And from there comes out the functionality that you need to build into your own products. So there's absolute relevance of the services organization in the product company, especially in the B2B space.
So, you were saying when you are transitioning, whenever a new customer asks for a few more features, you had to say no. And the thing is, invariably, I'm part of a product company. When big customers ask for new features on old releases, we end up doing the fear of losing. How are you managing that? Having been a product company for 2 years.
It's a very tough call. You will have faced that. You're a small company. You have a big customer, it's a Fortune 100 customer. And how can you say no? Sometimes you have to say nothing. Again, that courage is important. The ability to say no is important. You've got to take that call. And just for one customer, you cannot put in jeopardy the entire plan that you have on this product. Sometimes you've got to say no to some business to get 100x or 1000x tomorrow.
So you have diversified technology, and how do you keep it up your competition?
Very good question. We are part of our people are just constantly doing only that. One good thing is that no big secrets are there. People are wanting to talk about what they're developing or developed and so on and so forth. And as much as we have to do that too. So you have to constantly track. Some of our best people are constantly tracking that matrix in terms of where we are, where they are, where are they going. And that's why it's a part of our pattern. One thing that we have talked about, and I was talking about a few projects that you guys can do with us. We're talking about how can we take our B2C company, a B2B company to become a B2C company in a very, very short period of time. Nobody's doing that in the competition. So we have to track that all the time.
One last question.
Probably 2 questions. One is, when you were in totally service company, at that time you were kind of doing the end-to-end kind of study of requirement, and it's more of engineering question. So, and then giving the service to the customer, or you have some package solution which you are customized and giving, like provided, delivering it to the customer. That's the first question.
So, product by definition, I would say, is something which is packaged, pre-packaged, with a set of functionality that you deliver. Right?
I'm talking about when you were not a product company at that time.
So that's we coined a word called productized services. We could never achieve it in that sense because again, I think it's important for companies which are niche at the higher end of the value chain in services. It's very important for them to keep on productizing the service. So you're doing something for a customer, you've got to see as to what out of that you can take out and put as a repeatable piece. And next time you're not going to just to manufacture again. Right? That calls for people like process guys, business analysts to be in the team. Generally in India, I've seen most of the project delivery teams do not have business analysts of the kind that should be there. Who will just keep on looking at, okay, what is it in this that I can pull out and productize at 10% additional cost, which I don't have to then build again for customer B, C, D. So that's important.
And when you started kind of a product company, like part of it, at that time did you recreate or you have generalized that existing services piece of?
No, we could never generalize in services. We wish we could have, but then again, it's I think more than the size and the resources. It's a matter of the intent to do it. People who deliver projects, they are always in a hurry to deliver it to the standards that the customer expects in terms of timelines within the dollar budgets that we have. And therefore, in spite of wanting to do it, very little emphasis goes on productizing any part for the future.
We have one more session, and Binod will be here to take your questions. We have a networking session outside. Thank you, Binod, for your insightful talk and your experiences on thinking for future, taking courage, saying no. I think for all the product leaders it will be a great learning. Navanan, can you please come forward and hand over your
Can we give a lot of Thank you so much. Appreciate speaking to you guys. Whatever I spoke, some parts of it could be of help. And I invite each one of you to be contributing and working on that. We are very passionate about this whole thing. And I'm sure we can give some good experience and exposure to you guys as you do your courses and programs. We have several opportunities. We can talk about that. I'll look at Prithia here and let them know. You can also let us know about the other thing that I talked about. Somebody is interested in product managing that venture as an experience. I can talk to the promoters of that product to get to make that happen. Thank you so much.
Next we have Amit Farmis here.